We're going to have more lefties losing it for you in a minute. Joining me now is Newsweek Senior Editor-at-Large, Josh Hammer. Josh, good to see you again. Talking about lefties losing it, let's check in to see how the leader of the free world is doing.
And when I was vice president, things were kind of bad during the pandemic. And what happened was, Barack said to me, go to Detroit and help fix it. Well, poor mayor, he spent more time with me than he ever thought he was going to have to. God love you.
Vice President, during the pandemic, Barack said to go to Detroit. What pandemic is he talking about? What's going on, Josh?
I mean, Rita, I think what's going on is fairly obvious, which is that the purported leader of the free world is palpably senile, and he is losing control of both his physical faculties and his mental faculties. I mean, Rita, his staff has had to produce for him a bespoke pair of sneakers. He has to wear a special pair of sneakers, literally just to walk across the White House ellipsis to actually get to Marine One, the presidential helicopter, just to prevent him from tripping even more than he already is. And he's been tripping a lot over the course of his presidency. But however bad his physical decline is, his mental decline is obviously so much worse. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin when it comes to the shocking number of gaffes that we've seen over the past few years here from this pathetic excuse of a so-called president of the United States. This is only the latest example here. It's easy for us to joke about, Rita, but unfortunately, this has very real ramifications. I mean, dictators all around the world see the decrepit state of the commander-in-chief, and from Pyongyang to Moscow to Beijing and Tehran and everywhere in between, they are just licking their chops looking at this feckless excuse for president.
And it's not just the gaffes, it's not just the cognitive decline. When he does put a sentence together, he's likely to be saying dangerous, race-baiting speeches like this one he gave to black students at a college graduation ceremony in recent days.
You missed your high school graduation. You started college just as George Floyd was murdered. And there was a reckoning on race. It's natural to wonder if democracy you hear about actually works for you. What is democracy? If black men are being killed in the street, what is democracy? The trail of broken promises still leave black communities behind. What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot. And most of all, what does it mean, as we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure?
It is just an incredible speech on so many levels, not just the falsehoods, not just the race baiting, but you just wonder what the motivation behind it is. Why does he want to put that message out there? Why does he want to tell black graduates that they need to be 10 times better than non-blacks to get a fair go, that they're being murdered in the streets?
Yeah, this speech was absolutely positively disgusting. I mean, talk about how a president of the United States should, in theory, try to uphold the best of the American tradition. You know, what Joe Biden should have done before he gave this speech at Morehouse College, which is historically viewed as probably the most prestigious of the HBCUs, the historically black colleges and universities in America, but he probably should have looked to some famous black Americans to see what they had to say about the American experiment, about our Constitution, about our Declaration of Independence. He should have looked at people like Martin Luther King, who spoke wondrously of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. He should have looked at Frederick Douglass back from the 19th century, the great slavery abolitionist, who spoke wonderfully about the Declaration of Independence and how this country was founded, that is, America was founded in a noble and just way for a noble and righteous and just cause. And you know, just to bring some kind of empirical teeth to it, Rita, as well, this notion that black men and women in America in the year 2024 have to work 10 times harder to make it. Are you kidding me? Since the Civil Rights Act of 1964, there has not been de jure under law state racism in America. In fact, the last vestige of actual racism was affirmative action, which the Supreme Court thankfully and
Yes.
mercifully held as unconstitutional last summer. That was against whites, Asians, Christians, and various other groups, not against blacks. So this was a disgusting race baiting speech, but it speaks volumes about the situation that Democrats find themselves in when it comes to trying to lock up the black vote. They are petrified of young black men in particular, basically the people that were right there in the Morehouse College audience.
They are, and if they think the way to appeal to them and to bring them back in is to indulge in this sort of racial politics, this bigotry of low expectations, they're on the wrong track. But this is all they know, and that's what they're going back to. But I want to speak to you about this shameful episode for the Biden administration. And today, they've sent an official message of condolence to the for the Iranian president, Ibrahim Raisi, who died in a helicopter crash yesterday. Really, the White House offering its condolences to the butcher of Tehran, a man who tortured pregnant women, who was responsible for thousands being slaughtered. It beggars belief.
I mean, disgusting, honestly, does not do this justice, Rita. Tragically, by the way, it's not just Joe Biden. I mean, NATO, the official NATO spokesperson, also offered her condolences on behalf of NATO. There were many European Union, EU countries that did the same thing. But, for the United States in particular, it really is kind of above and beyond disgusting. I mean, this is a regime, the theocracy, the malocracy in Tehran that's existed since 1979. This is a regime that quite literally chants death to America in the streets. They chant death to America in their legislature there. And, just to kind of underscore how absurd this situation is, it's not just that they want to kill Americans and kill America. They do. The Iranian regime has the blood of hundreds and hundreds of Americans on their hand from their roadside IEDs that exploded during the war in Iraq. They have tried to assassinate Americans all around the world, for that matter. But over the past 48 to 72 hours, so what we have seen is that a lot of the Iranian people inside of Iran, Rita, have risked their lives to go on social media and celebrate the death of this man that you just described, the so-called butcher of Iran, this man who has terrible amounts of copious blood on his hands. And at the same time that the Iranian people who are struggling for basic human dignity and free expression inside their own country, at the same time that they are risking jail time, prosecution, or God forbid, even worse, just to go to social media and to express their joy that the butcher of Tehran is no longer with us. At the same time as that, the president of the United States and the leader of the free world is offering his condolences. How about we just say, we hope for the best for the Iranian people. May your next president offer you something remotely approximating human dignity. Not that the president has that power. It's up to the Ayatollah, but some message along those lines would have been nice. But offering condolences for a terrorist jihadist state, oh my God, never thought I would see it, honestly.
Just if you can't put out a message that hopes for better days for the Iranian people, then just don't do anything. Don't put out a condolence letter. I mean, it is, oh gosh, for someone, as you know, my family fled Iran after the Islamic Revolution and the Islamist takeover of the country. So to have the US president, the Biden administration, put out a message like that, it's just, like I said, it beggars belief.